Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. A little under 12 months ago, I brought you a review of the best affordable watches you'd never heard of. Probably. They were a dive watch and a Gada watch by Cestrian, a British company owned and operated by Watch Nation, who are a bricks and mortar store in Chester in the UK. They were £150 and £135 respectively before any discounts, which made them way cheaper than the equivalent Seiko or Orient, but with much better specs than the equivalent Seiko or Orient. Well, Cestrian are back with their latest creation, a field watch. And guess what? It's much better priced than the equivalent Seiko or Orient, but also much better spec than the equivalent Seiko or Orient. Now, you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by Cestrian. I will of course therefore leave a link to these watches in the description of the video. You can check them out there for yourself. You'll also find a 10% discount code available if you sign up for their email newsletter. That means this field watch drops down to £130 or less. Try finding a Seiko 5 field watch for that price. You just won't. However, unlike the brand themselves, I'm not going to tell you this is a luxury watch because it isn't. But if you're looking for a solid, well-made, legible all-rounder, this makes a lot of sense, particularly if you live in the UK. Let's flip the camera and have a look at it. Alright, before we have a look at the watch, let's discuss my favourite topic, money. And while I will mention USD occasionally today, like in the video description for example, I'm mostly going to talk in British pounds because this is a British company and I suspect they'll do most of their business selling to the British market. These are £145, but like I said, there's a 10% code available if you sign up for their newsletter, taking it down to £130. And that's free UK delivery with 60-day returns policy, which is reassuring if you're buying in Britain, plus no import taxes, which is always a relief. However, good shoppers always do a bit of research, don't they? And I found the same watch available from the same company on eBay for £120 with a further £6 discount available and free delivery. Yeah, look, shop around. If they're going to undercut themselves, it definitely pays to do some digging. I also found their Master Series on Amazon for £100 on the nose. That is a great watch for 100 quid if you're in the UK, by the way. And like I said, good luck trying to find a Seiko at these prices. The Seiko 5 equivalent field watch, the SRPK, will cost you £200 plus. But before we go on, I pulled them up for this last time. Some of their slightly hokey marketing claims involving luxury. It seems this time they're trying to wrestle back the idea of luxury. Beats me. I've got a PhD and I've got no idea what they're talking about here, but I guess it must have sounded good in that brainstorm. Moving on to the packaging, and I hope you're sitting down because you are about to witness a murder. Do you see the bloody mosquito? Well, I saw it, but it clearly didn't see me quick enough. It has been stinking hot here this week, so the buggers are out in force. No more blood for this one. Anyway, moving on to the packaging, which is fine. Very reminiscent of a Seiko, small cardboard box. Does come with a proper 2-year warranty though, which is great to see at this price. And the black and orange theme continues with a cushion, which is a nice little detail. I had to remove 3 links to fit my 7-inch wrist, so it's going to fit most people up to just over 7.5 inches therefore, with no problems. Now they sent me 2 different versions, the grey dial and the green dial, as you can see here on either side. They also sent me a couple of loaners. They have updated the Master Series and the Dive Series with some new colours and some minor revisions. Here is the family photo, if you will. You can check out all of the watches via the link, and I believe the discount code applies to them all as well. Dimensions and specifications. It's a 40-20, so 40mm in diameter, 20mm between the lugs, with a thickness of 12.5mm and a lug tip to lug tip of only 46.5. You'll see when I show you the case profile from the side, a lot of thought has gone into how this watch wears, and it wears well as a consequence. Crystal is flat sapphire, water resistance is 200 meters with the aid of a screw down crown. There's a bit of taper on the bracelet by the way, down to 18 and back up to 20 at the clasp. Sized up for my 7-inch wrist, it weighs in at 135 grams. It will shock no one when I tell you the movement is a Seiko NH35. Zero complaints from me about getting a Seiko movement for 120 quid / 150 US dollars. Zero complaints about the fact that you can't see it because of the screw on case back with the ubiquitous spec sheet and a whole bunch of other numbers. I'm not sure why they're there, but they look impressive, don't they?
The NH35 of course has 24 joules, it both hacks and hand winds. It is rugged, it is robust, it is reliable, and it's sometimes also quite accurate. I got -7 out of the grey one and +8 out of the green one. Okay then, here is the case. Now the finishing is nothing to write home about. High polished sides and a satinised brush to the upper lugs, high polished step bezel, with just a little ring of brushed again on the flat upper surface where the sapphire integrates with the case. What is worth noting is the case shape. Short lugs, curved lugs, and the lugs are angled backwards, which helps to visually shrink the case. Cestrian, I think, do really well with the NH35. It's not a particularly slim movement, but they seem to know how to get a case to work with the movement rather than struggle against it. The unguarded crown has got the Cestrian Shield logo on it and plenty of grip when you need it. And the bracelet's okay as well. It's a flat link Jubilee style, but it's all brushed. I think a good choice. There's obviously some polish on the bezel and the sides of the case, but I'm glad they kept the bracelet all brushed. It might have looked a little bit too dressy if they had polished some of those mid links. Solid end links, push pins holding it together, which is fine for the money, and it has one of those entry-level clasps that you've seen dozens of times elsewhere before, I'm sure. Pressed upper, milled scissor, double security pusher, branded fold over, 3 holes of micro adjustment. A 4th hole would not have gone amiss though. Dial and hands, and I think they've done a really good job. In combination with the unguarded crown and the multi-link bracelet, the watch has a kind of classic mid-century field watch look, but with a slightly dressy vibe, but without being retro or kitsch because they haven't added Fotina or anything else, for example. Now the Shield logo is applied to the sunburst dial under the 12, but everything else is just printed on. The numerals for 1 to 12 are a good size. 13 to 24 are a bit small, but then again that's kind of normal for this style of field watch, isn't it? There's a printed train track minute marker with quarter-minute hash marks plus dots and Arabics on the 5s. That makes the outer edge of the dial quite busy, but it does go nicely with the military look. There's a simple printed frame around the non-colour match date complication at the 3. Colour matching would have been nice, but it's probably not going to happen at this price. And the handset's really good as well. Segmented pencil, hour and minute hands are just the right length, and the arrow tip second hand has some much needed colour to it. In this case, colour matching the Field Series model name printed beneath the pinion. Overall, I like it. They haven't done anything new, but they haven't done anything wrong. And on balance, I'll take that on an affordable field watch every single time. Now you saw the dial is just printed, but there is a bit of lume on all of those large Arabics and on the 3 hands. C3 Superluminova, and initially it's very impressive. But as with a lot of printed dials and as with a lot of affordable watches, when I turn the speed up it does fade noticeably. You can still just about see at the end of the test though, so it's not too bad. And it's not too bad on wrist either. I showed you that nice case earlier on with a short lug to lug and the distinct downturn to the lugs. That means it wears really well, especially when combined with articulating end links. I mean, there's still a bit of chunk to it because of the 12.5mm thickness and the 137g weight, but that's okay. It kind of feels reassuringly solid, which is a good thing, I suppose, in a watch that is supposed to spend its life in muddy fields. I suspect that most Cestrians will spend most of their time in more genteel environments, like offices and country pubs, and they will do just fine there. You do get a bit of bounce back from the flat sapphire occasionally, but not too much, and the whole thing feels pretty comfortable. One extra hole though would not have gone amiss on the clasp. I suspect that if it gets much hotter here in summer, I would need to add an extra hole length rather than just adjusting the clasp. And that's the Pocket Shot. It looks good. These come in either green, grey, black or blue. Personally, I think the grey is my favourite. It's just that little bit different from black, because let's face it, I've probably got enough black dial watches in my collection already. Alright, moans and niggles then. Surely I found something to complain about in a watch only costing £120. Well, on the basis that it only costs £120, I don't really have much to complain about. It doesn't feel like a luxury watch, it feels like an affordable watch. You know, San Martins, for example, they look and feel like they cost several $100s more than they do. This doesn't do that. It just feels really solid for the price that they're charging. And if I am going to complain about a couple of things, then I will complain about the clasp. It's just the most basic mill clasp that can be found in the clasp catalogue, and the logo appears slightly differently on various parts of the watch. On the clasp itself, it is split down the middle with a different finish on the right half and the left half. I believe that is the official logo, but on the crown and on the dial, it doesn't have that split finish, so it just looks slightly mismatched therefore. And the first link on my bracelet would catch occasionally depending on how it's manipulated. Definitely not a deal breaker, but just something that I ought to point out. And there's nothing radical about this design at all, nothing new or clever or innovative. It's all pretty standard stuff, but again, I refer you to the price. $150, £120. And for that price, it's a great deal. Make sure you shop around though, make sure you check eBay, make sure you check Amazon to find the best prices because they seem to offer better deals in some places than in others.
So there you have it. There is nothing radical about this Cestrium watch or the other two Cestrium watches, but they offer AliExpress pricing with the confidence and the warranty that comes from a proper bricks and mortar outlet. Unless they somehow manage to drop the ball in the future, I am confidently predicting lots more great value watches to come. While you're here, why not check out my original review of their Mark I Master Series and Dive Series, or the special edition Rotary that Watch Nation released a couple of years ago. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. I'll see you again in the next one.